Hello again, everyone. Sorry we are indoors today. I'd much rather be outside, but it is very wintry out there, and I am not a wintry person. But if you're new here, I'm Donna, and welcome to Between the Pines. I have something I'd like to talk to you guys today. I had an interesting experience in a social setting, and it got me to thinking about a very common issue that most of us, or at least the people that I encounter, seem to experience at some point, and it seems to be more and more often in today's society or as we age, different situations. So I'd like to talk a little bit about insecurity. And in this capacity, I think that sometimes this also comes into play with issues around anxiety. Now, this is not a therapeutic video, it's not therapy advice, there's none of that. This is just my experience and my observations and just something I wanted to talk about. So have you ever felt out of place, awkward, anxious, in groups, at parties, meeting new people? Maybe it's people you already know, but you're not used to that group of people getting together. Maybe it's the grocery store, a doctor's office, anything, that just creates that sense of dread that something bad's going to happen. You ever felt that fear? I think that a lot of times we can label things as social anxiety, and I think it might do us some good to look a little deeper. For me, anxiety is usually about two things. One, something I dread, where I fear there's going to be something uncomfortable or something bad can happen. Like the first time I really started paying attention to my experience with this was, I worked in a place that I'd been for many years, and I loved the people there, and for a long time I loved that job, but it started to wear on my mental health because it was just emotionally heavy. And I noticed that when I would get within a mile of arriving at work, that I would just have this racing heart, this feeling of dread, this almost difficulty breathing. I did not want to be there. And there was nothing bad that was going to happen. And these people were lovely. I needed to recognize that there was something in me that I needed to listen to. So dread, something you dread, like going to the dentist, going to the doctor. If you're going to poke me with something sharp, I'm going to have some anxiety. But the second thing that I think brings up this insecurity, this anxiety, is what we think, what we are imagining is going to happen in a situation. So in my case, the number one question I think that I ask myself is, what if they don't like me? Why wouldn't they like me, right? So that's kind of the counter question. But growing up was difficult, and I've always been a little bit different. And being different is one of those things that sometimes is obvious and sometimes is not. But I knew it. And there were certain circumstances that other people knew it too. May not have been able to put their finger on it, but they knew. And they treated me a little different. There were certain little comments that were made, or things that I was left out of, different, just little micro expressions, things that you pick up on, maybe not even subconsciously, but you learn that something is uncomfortable. The other part of being different, and will someone like me, is will they be unkind? Will they hurt my feelings? Will they say something mean? Will they hurt me? Will they physically hurt me? Is this a place that may put me in danger? So those fears are rooted in reality. And it isn't so easy to just flip the story and try to look at things from a positive or any of those things. So because we do have to look over our shoulder, we do have to look out for ourselves and pay attention to what these cues are. And it kind of leads into my point and what happened in this gathering that I was in. So knowing that I'm someone that I'm pretty hard on myself. I'm the first one to judge me. And so that means I walk into the room expecting, looking for people to snarl or look away or draw away or, ignore or be uncomfortable. So I'm looking for those cues. I'm not looking for the acceptance. I'm not looking for the things that say, hey, you're okay. So changing the story is a big deal. And I think this experience that I had was one of the first times I really recognized when these things were happening. And basically it was a situation where I met someone for the first time that I'd heard a lot about because it was a mutual group of friends. And anytime that a story was brought up about me or a question was asked about me or anything, there was just a slight rude comment or a walk away or a change of subject, some little micro expressions that I'm very sensitive to. Now in the past, I would have been extremely hurt. I would have seen that as rejection. I would have seen that as something's wrong with me. But this time I didn't. I left that insecurity at home. Don't know why. I think it's something that I've been working on for a really long time. I was able to see this person, that this was something that was going on with them. I don't know what someone else's thoughts are, what their beliefs are, what their expectations are. That belongs to them. And I'm beginning to recognize that I can't be responsible for everybody else's thoughts and behavior and feelings. I can just be me. My job is to be a good person, and I get to define what that is. And if that doesn't work for someone else, then they get to choose that. It's okay for them not to like me. If that's something in me that I want to look at, I want to say I want to do better, that's something I want to change, that's something I want to work on, I need to do that. Because that would be changing something for me, not for the other person. So this insecurity thing is an interesting concept because all the time that we spend worrying about whether or not someone else is going to like us, the most important piece is, do I like me? Do you like yourself? If you bring the best of you to the table, that's golden. If someone else is unkind or rude, or they put you down in some way, they don't have anything nice to say about you, that doesn't say anything about you. But it does say a lot about that person. And instead of sitting there and saying, what if this person doesn't like me? I get to ask myself, is this someone that I like? Is this someone I want to choose to spend my time and energy and focus having in my life? Do they bring joy to my life? Do they bring value to me? Now that doesn't mean that they don't bring joy, and that doesn't mean that they don't bring value. It's just that this is not a fit for me. And that's okay. We all don't have to like each other. So what's your anxiety? What's your insecurity about? I would say that most of the time, we're looking for that worst case scenario, that bad thing to happen. What if everything goes okay? What if they like you? If you're spending all of your time trying to put on a front, trying to be somebody that you're not, trying to act in a certain way, that's exhausting. At the end of the night, they're not really going to know who you are. And you're probably not going to like yourself very much either. So love yourself. Love who you are. Love your differences. I mean, think about everything else in the world. Our differences is what makes the world beautiful. Nature. I'm surrounded by forests and trees, and they're all different. There's different shapes and sizes and varieties. Some have nuts, some have berries. There's tons of different, some bear fruit. The flowers are all different. Some bloom in the spring, some bloom in the fall. They have multitudes of colors. Some sting, some have thorns, some are super delicate. Our differences are what make us beautiful. So love yourself. Love who you are. If there's something out there to be afraid of, keep your guard up. Look over the shoulder. That's fine. Let's stay in reality. The dentist is not a pleasant place to go. Getting stuck with a needle is not pleasant, but we're going to be okay. Let's look at the threat. What's the volume here? Let's bring that temperature down. I'm okay. But if the fear is not about you, let it belong to the other person. It's their problem. They're the ones missing out on the wonderful gifts that you represent. Just be yourself. Love who you are. Choose those who bring you joy. So what do you think? I'd love to hear what your experience has been with learning to set aside insecurity and loving yourself, not letting other people get in your head. You're not responsible for their feelings. Let me know. I'd love to see what you have to say. Teach me something new. Help me grow. That's what we're here for. Thanks for being here. I hope to see you soon. Take care.